Hi everyone, Kevin C. here from Santa Rosa, JC. Following up on the Wine 111 visit to Berger and Vanderkamp Vineyards. It was a great field trip. Here are some follow-up topics that will be on the final exam. There are 7 topics, and I'll go through these one by one. So I'd suggest pause here, read through the list, and then we'll get going. The first topic is vine balance. We've talked about that on each of our field trips. Here's a little schematic that talks about vine balance. And you'll see 2 cycles here. On the left, we have what we call the vegetative cycle. On the right, we have the balance cycle. And that's what we're going for. We're going for vine balance. And so this cycle is self-reinforcing. Let's start at the top. If we have a decent amount of light on our bunch, on our grapes, we're going to stimulate bud break. That's when the buds actually push out at the beginning of the season. Bunches will get nicely initiated. Light will help with fruit set and with berry growth. Fruit set is when flowers become berries, and berries are how we refer to grapes, and berry growth will be helped by light. So light will increase all these factors. What that does is that leads to increased fruit on the vine. So increased fruit weight per shoot. That will decrease shoot growth down at the bottom here. All right, so more fruit weight will have less shoot growth. We'll have a nice balance. There's our balance between shoot growth and fruit ripening. Because shoots are not as long, our canopy, that is the sum total of our shoots and our leaves that form a canopy over the grapes, that canopy density will be lower because there's less leaf area. Therefore, we reinforce the light that gets to the vine and to the bunches, and then the cycle continues. On the other side, if we had shade, that actually decreases all the bud break, and it decreases all these other factors. So we have less fruit per vine, therefore there's more shoot growth, therefore our canopy density is higher, therefore we have more shade, and then we reinforce this cycle. So what we want is balance. We want balance between fruit growth and shoot length. And Greg LaFollette talked about this on our field trip, and he talked about the fact that grapevines want to reproduce. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is you can reproduce by sinking a shoot into the ground, and that shoot will form roots if it grows underground. And that's a very easy way for a vine to propagate a new vine. The shoot grows when photosynthesis happens on a sunny day. Sugar is produced that's used to make more vegetative growth, make shoots longer. If the shoot can just grow and come in contact with the dirt and form roots, now you've got a new vine. That's a very easy way for the vine to reproduce. Problem is, if the vine senses that it's not going to have enough shoot growth, then it has to cut over to option 2 for reproduction, and that is to reproduce by using seeds. So the vine grows seeds in the grapes. The seeds mature as the season progresses, and eventually the grapes that surround the seeds, the pulp and the skins that surround the seeds, those mature, they get sweet, they attract birds, the birds eat the grapes, the birds then spread the seeds around, and a new vine grows that way. It's advantageous for the vine to have seeds in grapes that are very attractive to birds. So we want the grapes that are sweet, the acid's low, the flavors are ideal. So if the vine senses that it's under stress, it may not be able to use option 1 because it may not grow enough shoots to form roots, then it has to cut to option 2. And that means the grape cuts over, and there's actually a switch that the vine uses physiologically. It sends out hormones that tells the rest of the vine, start ripening the fruit. We need to reproduce by having mature seeds in tasty grapes that are eaten by birds and distributed around the countryside. So if we have balance, shoots don't get too long, and then what that does is forces the vine to ripen the grapes. So that's the idea with balance. And we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, as we're out in the field the rest of this class. Okay, let's talk about clones. From UC Davis does a summary about different varietals, and this is from the UC Davis summary of Pinot Noir, cited here at the bottom. And it says Pinot Noir appears to be genetically unstable, and new clones resulting from point mutations, that means a single point in the long DNA that makes up the genetic information of the vine. A single point mutation can lead to a new clone. If that point mutation changes the color slightly, or the ripening characteristics, or maybe the tannins that are produced in the vine, etc., if the changes are desirable, then it becomes a clone that we want to propagate. And so we will take cuttings of that, grow new cuttings, and all of a sudden we have a new clone. Pinot Noir is an ancient varietal. It's been around a long time, so it's had lots of time to mutate and form new clones. It's also genetically unstable, so it forms a lot of new clones. So genetic instability and lots of time means lots of clones of Pinot Noir. So these are all the same species. They're all Pinot Noir, but each one has slightly different characteristics, and some growers like some characteristics and some winemakers like other characteristics, and some clones fit better in one type of climate and some clones fit better in another. So one of the challenges is fitting the right clone to the right site. Here's my unofficial list of Pinot Noir clones. I just grouped them into 4 categories. There were some early clones from UC Davis, and you'll see those here, Wadenswil and Pommard being 2 of those. They're heritage clones. These come from wineries around the state. So Calera was an early Pinot Noir producer down in the San Benito County, in the hills above the Monterey Bay. Wente in the area, the Livermore Valley there, east of San Francisco, was a major producer. And so when we take cuttings from one of these wineries, we tend to name them after the winery. So Calera, Wente, Martini clone, Swan, the Joseph Swan clone from here in Sonoma County, the Mount Eden clone. Pommard, UC Davis selections, clones 4 and 5, you hear about a lot. And then the 4th group are the Dijon clones, which were imported, many of them imported in 1987 and 1988 by David Adelsheim. He brought those to Oregon. Those were cool climate clones that were well suited to the cooler areas of Oregon, and we plant those a lot around Sonoma County, and they seem to do really well, especially in the cooler areas like the Green Valley of the Russian River Valley. And here are some of those clone numbers, those Dijon clone numbers. Most of these were imported by David Adelsheim. The origin of some of them, like 828, is not all that well determined. But the point being, you have lots of clones of Pinot Noir, and every grower and every winery is going to work to match the right clone to the right site. So thus we talk a lot about clones when we're talking about Pinot Noir. All right. I'm going to pick it up after this with a new video, and we'll pick up with the root stocks. Thanks for watching, and please see me in video number 2.